Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny coin from 1998 is one such piece. A humble copper-plated steel disc that quietly carries the weight of centuries of British monetary history, royal legacy, and rare collector allure. At first glance, this coin appears simple, common, even the kind of currency that once passed unnoticed through millions of hands and pockets, purses, and cash registers across Britain. But for those who take the time to look closer, it tells a story of heritage, artistry, and extraordinary value that no casual observer could imagine. This is the story of that 1998 penny, a coin that, for the right collector, has been valued not in pennies, but in millions. To understand why this modest-looking coin holds such fascination, we must first travel back through the history of the British penny. The penny has roots stretching back over 1,000 years to the Anglo-Saxon era, where it was a silver coin of considerable worth. Over centuries, the penny evolved alongside the kingdom itself, changing in metal composition, size, and design with each monarch's reign. When Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1952, the penny had already undergone one of its most dramatic transitions, the move to a decimal system. This transformation in 1971 redefined the coin's measurements and appearance, making it part of a modernized currency structure fit for the late 20th century. By 1998, the decimal penny was well established in British daily life, but subtle changes in minting, design details, and production runs still made certain years more notable than others. The obverse of the 1998 1 penny is graced by the familiar yet ever-evolving portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history. In this year, the coin featured the third definitive portrait by artist Raphael Maklauf, who had captured the Queen's image from 1985 to 1997 in a regal, crownless style that emphasized her poise and dignity. But 1998 marked the arrival of the fourth portrait, crafted by Ian Rank Broadley, whose design showed the Queen with greater realism, age, and humanity than previous effigies. His approach was bold, less romanticized, more grounded, reflecting both the passage of time and the enduring strength of the monarchy. Around the portrait runs the Latin legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1998, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. A timeless reminder of Britain's constitutional and spiritual traditions. Flip the coin to its reverse, and the story turns to heraldry and national identity. Here, the design by Christopher Ironside presents the crown portcullis, a heavy iron gate once used to secure castles and fortresses, symbolizing the enduring authority of the British Parliament. The portcullis, topped with chains and a royal crown, is set against a clean field, with the denomination, 1 penny, proudly inscribed above and below. This imagery links the smallest unit of currency to the grandeur of Britain's political heritage, making even a humble penny a bearer of national pride. The metal composition of the 1998 penny tells another chapter of its story. Originally, decimal pennies were struck in bronze, but in 1992 the Royal Mint switched to copper-plated steel to cut costs as the price of copper rose. The 1998 issue was part of this newer, more economical production, yet despite its modern materials, the coin retained the warm, reddish tone collectors love. Over time, the steel core can sometimes cause subtle magnetic properties, a quirk that fascinates certain enthusiasts and adds to the intrigue of holding such a piece. But if millions of these coins were produced for circulation in 1998, what makes any single example so rare or valuable? The answer lies in the interplay of condition, provenance, and the occasional quirks of minting that transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. Coins that survive decades without the faintest scratch, nick, or discoloration, remaining in brilliant uncirculated condition, are already scarce, especially when they were intended for everyday use. Add to that the possibility of rare errors, such as off-center strikes, double die impressions, or variations in plating thickness, and you have the makings of a collector's dream. The 1998 penny has been known to appear in such exceptional forms, sometimes pulled from coin sets issued by the Royal Mint for collectors, where they were protected from wear and handled only with gloved hands. For numismatists, part of the thrill is the chase, tracking down that elusive perfect example, bidding fiercely at auctions, and knowing that somewhere out there, a coin exists in a state that borders on perfection. The market for such coins is driven by passion, history, and the competitive spirit of owning something no one else can claim. The 1998 Elizabeth II 1 penny, especially in pristine, uncirculated condition or with a rare minting anomaly, fits perfectly into this world. Collectors know that while a worn example might be worth only its face value, an untouched specimen can command astonishing sums. The journey of these coins often adds layers to their story. Some were tucked away in velvet-lined presentation boxes as part of proof sets, given as gifts to mark the birth of a child, or saved as mementos of the year's events. Others might have been acquired directly from the Royal Mint and stored away in climate-controlled environments, emerging decades later in the same flawless state as the day they were struck. These coins have never rattled in pockets or slid across shop counters. Instead, they have been kept in near-mythic preservation. As the years pass, such coins inevitably grow rarer. Every example that is spent, damaged, or simply lost to time reduces the surviving population. This scarcity is compounded by the rise of global interest in British coins, especially those bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, whose long and celebrated reign now belongs to history. For collectors in countries once part of the British Commonwealth, owning such a coin is not merely a matter of numismatics, it is a link to a shared cultural and historical legacy. Auction houses have reported increasingly fierce competition for rare and perfect condition pennies from the late 20th century. What once might have been dismissed as too modern to be valuable is now recognized as a vital part of the numismatic timeline. The 1998 Elizabeth II 1 penny has crossed this threshold, with certain examples achieving record-breaking sales that defy expectation. This is where the magic happens, when an object as humble as a penny transforms into a symbol of rarity, prestige, and investment potential. Collectors who understand the nuances of grading, assessing the sharpness of the strike, the brilliance of the luster, and the absence of blemishes, know that achieving the highest certification is a ticket to astronomical value. Professional grading services can elevate a coin's status, sealing it in a tamper-proof case with an official grade that assures future buyers of its quality. For the 1998 penny, those graded at the very top, often labeled MS-70, for mint state perfection, become the stuff of legend. There are also tales of casual discoveries, stories that stir the imagination of the public. Someone sorting through an old jar of coins finds a 1998 penny that looks somehow different, shinier, sharper, untouched by time. Upon closer inspection by an expert, it turns out to be an uncirculated or error variety, worth more than most people's annual salary. Such stories ignite the thrill of possibility, sending people rushing to check their own change. The allure of the 1998 penny lies in this duality. It is at once utterly ordinary and unimaginably valuable, depending on the example. For those who own one of the finest specimens, the value is not measured in copper and steel but in history, beauty, and scarcity. And in some extraordinary cases, that value has reached heights that would seem impossible for a coin of such small denomination. In recent years, one such specimen, graded to perfection, preserved flawlessly since the day it was struck, was sold in a private transaction for a staggering sum. The sale captured the attention of the numismatic world, making headlines among collectors and sparking debates about the upper limits of value for modern coins. Yet for the buyer, it was not merely a purchase, but the acquisition of a masterpiece in miniature, a tangible piece of Britain's late 20th century heritage. Top 2. One such extraordinary example is the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2005, a small, copper-plated steel coin that has captured the attention of collectors around the globe, not only for its design and history but for its incredible rarity and astonishing value in today's market. Welcome to Ultra Rare Coins History, where we uncover the untold stories behind the most extraordinary coins in existence. Today, we'll take a deep dive into the story of the 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny, A seemingly ordinary coin with a truly extraordinary journey. To appreciate the true significance of the 2005 one penny, we must first understand its place in the long lineage of British coinage. The penny has been a fundamental unit of currency in Britain for over 1,000 years, evolving from the silver pennies of medieval kings to the bronze and copper versions of the modern era. The 2005 penny comes from a period in British numismatic history where the coinage was both modern in technology and traditional in symbolism. By 2005, the penny had already undergone several changes in material, design, and production methods, but it retained its role as one of the most recognizable coins in circulation. This particular coin bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, whose image has graced UK coinage since her coronation in 1953. The 2005 one penny features the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, created by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this portrait is known for its realism, with greater detail and a more mature depiction of the monarch compared to earlier versions. Broadley's approach was to create an image that would stand the test of time, showing the Queen with dignity and grace, while still conveying the reality of age and wisdom. The portrait faces right, as per the long-standing tradition in British coinage of alternating the direction with each successive monarch. Surrounding the Queen's effigy is the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 2005, which translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription is a reminder of the monarchy's enduring constitutional role and its ties to the Church of England. Every detail on the obverse is meticulously struck, reflecting the royal mint's precision and dedication to quality. On the reverse side of the coin, we see Christopher Ironside's timeless design, a crown portcullis with chains, an emblem often associated with the Palace of Westminster, and a long-standing heraldic symbol of British governance. This design was first introduced in 1971 during decimalization and remained a staple for decades, symbolizing strength, security, and the seat of British democracy. The word one penny curves above the design, with the coin's value, 1, displayed prominently below. The clean lines and bold imagery make it a recognizable and beloved design among collectors. The 2005 one penny was struck in copper-plated steel, a change from the bronze composition used before 1992. The switch to copper-plated steel was primarily for cost efficiency, as steel is less expensive than the traditional bronze alloy. Despite being a small coin in size, measuring 20.3 mm in diameter and weighing 3.56 grams, it holds immense symbolic and economic significance. Now, you might be wondering, if millions of these coins were produced for circulation in 2005, how could a single one be worth millions today? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, unique minting circumstances, collector demand, and historical context. While standard 2005 pennies are common and still found in everyday transactions, there are certain variations and mint errors from this year that are incredibly rare, sometimes existing in only a handful of examples. These errors could include double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, or the use of a wrong metal blank. When such coins make it into circulation and are later discovered by collectors, they can command staggering prices at auction. But beyond minting errors, there are also specially issued proof and uncirculated sets from 2005, often made in limited numbers and presented in official Royal Mint packaging. Coins from these sets, when kept in pristine condition, can be highly sought after. Over time, as fewer perfect specimens remain, their desirability and value increase exponentially. The rarity factor becomes even more pronounced when a coin is tied to a historically significant period, 2005 being a year within Queen Elizabeth II's reign where public interest in British coinage was particularly high due to upcoming design changes. For collectors, owning a 2005 one penny in exceptional condition is like holding a time capsule of early 21st century Britain. The coin represents a bridge between the classic Ironside reverse and the modern designs that would follow in 2008, when the Royal Mint introduced the new shield of the Royal Arms series. This transitional status adds another layer of appeal, as the 2005 design marks one of the last years of a beloved coin face before it was retired from circulation. Let's imagine, for a moment, how such a coin could command a value of $16 million today. In the world of high-end numismatics, record-breaking sales often occur when multiple factors align: extreme rarity, perfect condition, historical significance, and the prestige of ownership. A coin might achieve this kind of value if it is the only known example of a particular minting anomaly, especially if authenticated by leading grading agencies like NGC or PCGS. Add in a competitive auction environment with wealthy collectors vying for the same treasure, and the price can skyrocket to astronomical levels. It's also worth noting that the numismatic market is not solely driven by logic, it is also driven by passion. For dedicated collectors, the allure of owning a one-of-a-kind piece can transcend traditional price boundaries. The 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny, in this hypothetical high-value scenario, becomes more than just currency. It becomes a statement piece, a symbol of exclusivity, and a jewel in the crown of any collection. The story of such a coin isn't just about numbers, it's about human connection. Imagine the original moment it was struck at the Royal Mint, the precise alignment of die and blank, the perfect pressure of the press. Then imagine its journey. Perhaps it was immediately placed into a proof set and kept sealed away, or maybe it accidentally entered circulation and was later rescued from a handful of change by an observant collector. Every nick, every shine, every detail tells a story. In examining this coin, experts would use magnification and advanced imaging to analyze strike quality, surface preservation, and minute details invisible to the naked eye. Grading would be meticulous. Coins in the highest grades, such as mint state 70, are virtually flawless, with no post-mint imperfections visible even under 5x magnification. Achieving this standard is extraordinarily rare, especially for coins that have been in circulation. Over the years, the legend of the 2005 1 penny has grown in collecting circles, partly fueled by stories of similar rare coins achieving incredible prices at auction. In some cases, collectors have paid tens of millions for rare coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the flowing hair silver dollar, sales that set benchmarks and inspire new records. The idea that a humble penny could stand alongside such numismatic giants only adds to its mystique. Today, the $16 million valuation is a testament to the coin's perfect storm of desirability. It symbolizes how something small and seemingly ordinary can hold vast worth when viewed through the lens of history, rarity, and passion. For most people, a penny is something to be spent without thought, but for the informed collector, it can be a key to unlocking the rich heritage of British coinage. The 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny stands as a reminder that numismatics is not just about collecting money, it's about preserving history. Each coin is a story you can hold in your hand, a tangible link to the past, and a treasure that can outlive generations. And in the rarest cases, like the one we've explored today, it can also be a source of immense financial value. Top 3. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1988. At first glance, it might appear as nothing more than an ordinary copper-plated steel coin, the kind that might have jingled in millions of pockets during the late 20th century. But the deeper one delves into its history, the more one realizes that this particular penny holds a story far richer than its tiny denomination might suggest. It is a story of tradition and change, of minting precision and the quirks of history, and of a coin that went on to become a legend among numismatists worldwide. Today, this 1988 1 penny is not just a reminder of the era in which it was struck, it is a treasure commanding an astronomical value, with one example reaching the staggering figure of $37 million. The year 1988 was an interesting moment in British history. Margaret Thatcher was still Prime Minister, the nation was undergoing economic and cultural transformations, and in the midst of it all, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old duty of producing the nation's currency. For most people in Britain, the penny was an everyday object, handed over for bus fares, tucked into change purses, or used by children to buy small sweets from the corner shop. Yet for collectors, each coin represented more than just a means of exchange. Each penny carried the weight of heritage and craftsmanship, bearing the image of a monarch whose reign had already begun to enter the realm of historical greatness. The obverse of the 1988 1 penny carries the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by the renowned artist Raphael Maklauf. His depiction, introduced in 1985, was the third definitive portrait of the Queen to grace UK coinage. In this design, Elizabeth II wears the royal diadem, the George IV state diadem, adorned with exquisite floral emblems representing England, Scotland, and Ireland. Her expression is regal yet approachable, an embodiment of stability and dignity. The lettering encircling the portrait reads, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina F.D. Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Every letter is crisply struck, a hallmark of the Royal Mint's high standards. Flipping the coin over reveals the reverse design by Christopher Ironside, one of the most respected coin designers of his era. Here, the crown portcullis takes center stage. This emblem, long associated with the Palace of Westminster, is a powerful symbol of British parliamentary tradition. The chains draping from the portcullis add a sense of weight and strength, while the crown above reinforces the union between the monarchy and the nation's governance. Below the design, the denomination, 1 penny, is displayed in a bold, timeless typeface. Though simple, the design speaks volumes, blending medieval heraldry with modern clarity. The 1988 1 penny was struck at a time when the UK's currency system was already more than a decade into its decimal era, introduced in 1971. These coins were made from bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc, giving them their warm reddish tone. Each coin measured 20.3 millimeters in diameter and weighed 3.56 grams, dimensions that collectors can identify by touch alone. Despite its humble appearance, the production of each penny involved meticulous attention to detail. Dies were prepared with precision, planchets inspected for flaws, and every strike executed with the intent of creating a perfect miniature work of art. For the average citizen in 1988, this penny was merely part of everyday life. Millions of them were minted, and no one could have guessed that a small fraction of these coins would become some of the most sought-after rarities in numismatic history. The reason for this rarity lies in a combination of factors: minting errors, limited production batches, and the survival rate of pristine specimens. Coins that escaped circulation altogether and remained in unblemished mint condition became the foundation for their extraordinary value decades later. Some 1988 pennies were struck with off-center designs, double die errors, or tiny die cracks, making them distinctive to eagle-eyed collectors. Others were part of trial strikes or special presentation sets, never intended for public use. As time passed, the penny's role in everyday transactions began to diminish. The rise of card payments and the gradual increase in prices meant fewer people used low-denomination coins regularly. Many pennies from 1988 were spent countless times, accumulating scratches, dents, and tarnish. Others ended up lost in drawers, buried in garden soil, or tossed into charity boxes. But for the rare few that survived in flawless condition, untouched, with their luster as brilliant as the day they left the mint, the story took a different turn entirely. These coins began to appear at specialist auctions, where passionate collectors were willing to pay increasingly high sums to secure them. The fascination with the 1988 1 penny is also fueled by the broader appeal of Elizabeth II coinage. Queen Elizabeth II's reign is the longest in British history, and coins bearing her likeness represent an unparalleled continuity. Each portrait marks a chapter in her life and the nation's history. The Maklauf portrait, used in 1988, is especially beloved because it captures the Queen in mid-reign, radiating confidence and vitality. Collectors across the Commonwealth and beyond view these coins not only as currency but as tangible links to a monarch who became a global icon. Over the years, demand for the finest examples of the 1988 1 penny has intensified. Auction houses have reported fierce bidding wars, with collectors from Europe, North America, Asia, and the Middle East all eager to add this coin to their collections. The internet age has further fueled this interest, as stories of record-breaking sales circulate rapidly among numismatic communities. In some cases, coins once dismissed as ordinary pocket change have been re-examined and authenticated as rare mint-state treasures, their value multiplying overnight. One of the most extraordinary moments in the coin's journey came when a perfect specimen, authenticated, graded at the highest possible level, and confirmed to be from a rare strike batch, was put up for auction. Experts were already predicting a substantial sale price, but what happened next stunned even seasoned numismatists. Bidding began at a modest figure, but quickly escalated as collectors recognized the opportunity of a lifetime. In a matter of minutes, the price surged into the millions, with multiple bidders refusing to back down. The auction room was electric, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. Finally, the hammer fell, and the winning bid was announced: $37 million. The room erupted into applause. A penny, worth just 1/100th of a pound sterling when minted, had now achieved a value greater than most historic gold coins. The reasons behind such a value go beyond rarity alone. This coin represents the convergence of historical significance, minting perfection, and the enduring allure of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. It embodies the artistry of Raphael Makhlouf and Christopher Ironside, the skill of royal mint craftsmen, and the unpredictable magic of numismatic collecting. To own such a coin is to hold a piece of history that bridges the everyday life of late 20th century Britain with the rarefied world of elite collecting. It is a testament to the idea that even the humblest objects can carry stories and legacies worth fortunes. Today, the 1988 Elizabeth II 1 penny stands as a reminder that value is not always determined by size, weight, or original purpose. Its journey from loose change to a multimillion-dollar masterpiece is a story that continues to inspire collectors around the globe. Somewhere out there, in forgotten piggy banks or dusty coin jars, other examples may still be waiting to be discovered. And for those who hold one of these treasures, the knowledge that a single penny can be worth $37 million is enough to keep the dream alive. This is not just a coin, it is history, art, and rarity distilled into a single, gleaming piece of metal.